Questions? Vince?
Well, I looked at this 2 nights ago, and I thought, well, how are they dreaming up these numbers when there's no actual figures up there? There's no year-to-date 2016 actuals, there's no year-to-date 2015 for a reasonable comparison as to how you got to those budgetary numbers. And what were the actuals so that you can understand what the fluctuations were, either increases or decreases, and actually question them. So that's my first question.
So we're in the middle between the third and the fourth quarter. We don't have all of the information in yet, and we don't have the audited financial statements. The fourth quarter, for some of you who've been around the council meetings and spent some time, know that the fourth quarter is when a lot of the big capital bills come in. Because of the fact that we tend to, in the past in Hamilton Township, we tend to approve the budget later in the year, March, April, even May. The tenders for the big capital contracts don't end up going out until later in the year. The work starts towards the end of the summer and into the fall, and so we end up getting these huge bills right at the end of the year. So I didn't put it in there because at this point the numbers would be quite skewed. And at this point what we're doing is we're looking at what was the 2016 budget and what are we proposing for the 2017 budget. So the figures are there to compare between 2016 and 2017. This encapsulates the, so as you go down to the bottom, this encapsulates the proposal at this point, 2.09%, comparing what is it we spent in 2016 that we budgeted for, and what is it that we're proposing to spend in the budget in 2017. So that increase would be 2.09%. So, so we can compare budget to budget. Hi.
I'm afraid that you're missing the point, because how do we know how well the projections are for a budget? These aren't even a budget, this is the working papers for a budget. I expect there's a difference. But how do we know how well you project if we don't know even what the actual and projected were for 2015, which could have been provided?
And it was, yeah.
Well, I don't have it.
No.
I don't have it. What mine
Here, let me bring it
says,
up for you.
Not on that
says
sheet.
2016 budget versus year-to-date operating as of June 30th, 2016. So, which isn't apparently here, because this is the 2016 budget, not the actual for 2016. I understand that you can't do that until year end, but you could at least have been something close to 6 months or 10 months. But what this says is 2017 working paper. So there's no 15 budget, no 15 actual. There's a 2016, and there's no year-to-date or anything near a year-to-date for 2016. So again, my question is, how can we know that your projections are accurate when there's no comparison of an actual to a proposed?
So Pauline and I forgot the lady's name that emailed earlier today to ask the same question, and I provided them the link to the 2011 through 2015 financial statements, and they show the budget and the year-to-date figures, the audited year-to-date figures.
But shouldn't that have been part of this for ease
Yes.
of for those of us who aren't accountants or actuaries or counselors, etc.? Should that not have been provided, you know, for full disclosure, so that we could have looked this over and been prepared for a meeting tonight when we only have 1 hour? This is it. We only have 1 hour to ask questions about this, and we haven't even started. And I'm sorry, but I'm a little bit dismayed to think that we can't even ask questions after 7 o'clock tonight. And on top of that, when you say that we can email, well, I can't, you know, 57 emails later, and I've already sent you several, to get this information ahead of time. And I asked specifically for the road budget for this year, and I've been, and your response, you know, with all due respect, is that one hasn't been made. And you provided us with 4 pages that really still don't even talk about the road budget. So when we have no opportunity after tonight, unless we, I suppose, make presentations at the December 13th meeting, and so ultimately, if December 20th council meeting is where this budget is potentially voted on, I will be dismayed about that, because we, as your constituents and the taxpayers in this community, will not have had an opportunity to even ask the questions, much less get the draft budget, much less get anything close to the actual expenditures that were made in 2016, or something close to that. And of course, it makes a huge difference, as you just indicated, when we have a lot of expenditures at the end of the year.
And those, unfortunately, at this point, those large expenditures, there's a lot of year-to-date entries to match funds to the capital projects. There's a lot of the large capital invoices that come in. The year-to-date numbers at this point would be skewed. They'd be very, very low because of the fact that most of those large transactions happen at the end of the year, which is why at this point we reserve it for the audited financial statements, and as we've have on our, listed on our website.
However, if the departments know what they've just spent, or are in the process of ordering for the rest of the year, if they have to get their orders in for the end of the year, I mean, they can certainly say, we're ordering $1 million, we're ordering $500,000, $250. I mean, they can say that to give a little bit of a proposed or anticipated one. So I mean, there is that that information available, and you know, we need that to have full disclosure, because you're asking us to pay 2.9% increase. And this is above and beyond whatever our impact, you know, our impact assessment is. So I think that this is really important information.
Well,
The actuals and budgets for 2010 and 2011,
they did?
all numbers.
Okay. And that was given out before the budget was done?
It was available at the agenda of council, and people could come to the council meeting, and if they asked for it, they could get it.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to let you know too, Paul, it's only 23 days before Christmas and you guys go on holidays. So if the department heads don't know what they're gonna spend or what they're expecting for invoices over the next 23 days, probably of which only 17 or 16 of those are actual working days, then there's something really wrong here.
The problem with, just to follow up on the call, on this lady's comment, is that I did look at the 2015 financial statements, that the audited statements. I went through those. The problem is, it doesn't line up with this budget. All these, if you look at the items, you can't compare it. I mean, it would have taken me months to try and figure out what was responding to the financial statements from the auditor and this budget. I know you're new here, but financial statements that are audited need to correspond with the budget for the next year, because you can't figure it out. You know, it's fine to have it, but you can't figure it out.
They tend to,
it doesn't follow.
the audit, the way that the auditors present the financial statements is in a compressed value that then gets loaded up into the Ministry of Housing, and how they've demanded that it be presented for their site, which presents the financial information returns for all municipalities, which you can go on and you can look up any municipality. You can compare Hamilton Township to whatever municipality you want with those financial information returns. So they tailor their report to a way that fits into that category within the financial information return, so that people can compare. Yep.
My first question is that over 43% of our proposed levy for 2017 is derived from the roads department budget. According to the working department documents tonight, that's 3.261 million of the 7.559 million. On March 10th, 2015, at the Committee of the Whole, DM Wills and Associates provided a PowerPoint presentation review of the roads needs study. In summary, 152 kilometers of roads required work in the next 10 years. Did you use this study, which cost our township in the neighborhood of $35,000, to develop the road plan built into the 2017 budget? Please publish this document so ratepayers can see what they are paying for and what the roads that are planned for 2017. There was always a historical list of plans included in budget worksheets in the past session of council from 2010 to 2014. Has this transparency disappeared? Where is the list of roads that were completed this year and the list planned for next year?
Okay, I'm just going to pull that over. So within there, we're talking, we have an increase of $70,000 of road work from what was proposed in 2016. I've got a little bit of a different breakdown to show some of the funding there as well, to show that we have the roadworks capital, it's less the gas tax and less OCIF, which you can see increased from 2016 to 2017. So when the budget is approved, there's a dollar value for that road work, and then the roads department consults with that roads needs study, as well as comparing information from the, I'm sorry, it just escapes my mind, you have to do some drive-bys, you do some road inspections. I'm sorry?
Road tour.
Road tour. So there's regular inspections that are done on the roads, and that's combined with that study that was published to then make a list of roads for the next year's working, I guess.
Where do we as ratepayers have any input on that if it's not published before the budget is approved? Like, we used to see it before the budget was approved, and if ratepayers were questioning it, they'd say to the councillors, really, I don't think White's Road needs to be done. I think that Lakeshore Road is much more important. Why aren't we, like, please explain what's going on here, or can you change your priorities for us?
And I don't have that information. I don't have the list of the roads that are slated for
That's
work
what
in
I'm saying.
2017.
I think you're rushing this budget and they're not giving you a chance to do it properly.
I don't understand, Paul, how you can budget without a plan. If you don't have the plan, how can you budget a number? It's impossible.
I guess in Hamilton Township, the amount has been approved, and then what happens is the list is made up that can be a part of that dollar figure. So here's your dollar value. So how much of this from this study and from the roads that we know need work, how much can we stretch that dollar, and then it's put into the list at that point once the budget number has been approved for the roads work.
I'd say that's not suitable.
Isn't that not working backwards?
Well, you have to work it one way. If you try to actually address every possible road need in the township, it would be a considerable amount of money, well in excess of what we budget presently.